Hello, my name is William Matson. I'm joined by my teammates Nasreen Asafi and Sam Warrable. We're going to give you a quick overview of our senior design project. The Centerdale Manor Restoration Project is a Superfund site north of Providence, Rhode Island, which you can see here. As a result of past chemical manufacturing activities in the source area, sediments in Allendale Pond were heavily contaminated with toxic compounds called dioxins. Dioxins are persistent in nature because they contain chlorine atoms natural processes cannot readily break down. Our project focused on remediation of Allendale Pond sediments and had two primary goals. First, we analyzed 3 cleanup verification methods, which Nasreen will discuss in a moment, and which are listed on the right-hand side of the screen here. These are potential methods used post-cleanup to verify the pond is sufficiently clean to meet regulatory requirements. Second, we analyzed 3 remediation options to clean up Allendale Pond, which are also listed here and Sam will discuss shortly. To understand our project design decisions, we need to spend a moment to consider the conditions at Allendale Pond and the regulatory targets we're aiming for. First of all is the scale, which is quite large. Based on sediment sampling results, an estimated 1.9 million cubic feet of pond sediment is impacted with dioxin concentrations exceeding regulatory limits. That's about 5,800 dump trucks full of sediment. Much of that sediment exceeds the regulatory limits listed here by orders of magnitude. The ultimate goal is to remediate the pond back to unrestricted recreational use for the community, free of risk to human health or welfare. Nasreen will now discuss the cleanup verification portion of the project.
Thank you, Will. So the first cleanup verification method is the point-by-point method, which is individual on-site comparison with pre-established cleanup standards. This results in an increase of cost as it will require further excavation of areas where a point is above the cleanup concentration. Additionally, this approach works best for a number of observations less than 10. Our data set includes 99 points, therefore the error rate associated with it is very high, which means that this is not an appropriate approach for Allendale Pond. The next verification method is the surface width area concentration estimate. This method provides the average dioxin concentration for the entire pond based on mean concentration of each demarcated zone. Based on calculation results of our data being less than the cleanup standard, we are able to say that the pond is clean. However, it was very close to the arithmetic mean, which suggests potential for confirmation bias. Therefore, it was deemed to be an inappropriate method for this site. Our recommended approach is a statistical compliance verification method, the 95% UCL. It is the recommended and preferred method of the EPA, also approved by the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management. We used ProUCL software, which characterizes the given data and suggests an appropriate statistical method to determine the 95% UCL. With our data, we got a recommendation of the 95% Chebyshev UCL test, and as a result, attainment of cleanup levels. This method is based on random sampling, therefore it's the least biased, and it also gives the greatest confidence that the ultimate remediation goal, which is protection of human health, is being met. Sam will now discuss the remedial options.
Thank you, Nasreen. Now we will review the remedial options for Allendale Pond. The first option is the do-nothing approach, which essentially leaves the contaminant in Allendale Pond sediment. Since the contaminant has a low solubility in water, there are little concerns about it spreading. However, the pond will be restricted from recreational use and require continuous monitoring of water quality and the dam's structural integrity. The second option is the capping option, which involves a biopolymer armored cap to isolate the contaminant and resist erosion. However, since the pond is shallow, excavation of 2.2 feet is necessary in order to maintain proper water level. While the cap is an effective method, it requires future reinforcement to remain structurally sound against erosion. The final option, the recommended option for the remediation of Allendale Pond, is a total excavation of the sediment of at least 3 feet. Some land disposal restriction areas will require deeper excavation and need to be disposed of via incineration. The contaminated sediment will need to be dewatered with geotubes, a geotextile fabric that allows water to escape and keeps contaminants in. This method was chosen to be most effective because it is a permanent removal of the contaminant and only slightly more expensive than the capping approach, which also requires excavation.